Nikki to your freaking neck.
Don't be pessimistic. If you do that, they win. That's how they want you. If you're
It's dead
pessimistic,
raining right
if
now.
you're cynical,
And we're almost
they
at the
win
top.
because you aren't going to do anything to change the world. You're going to get shut down. Don't do it. And I mean, he was just like held my gaze and held my arm. I was like 25. I was like, and then he let go. And then I walked out into the world and I saw things in an entirely new way. What is sacred in the modern world? And I reference the great medieval Japanese poet Basho, who wrote haiku and is considered like the greatest haiku poet of all time. And what he would do as part of just his tradition is it's part travelogue, it's part spiritual journey, and it's part meditative journey and the connection to nature, and it's a part of an artistic journey, is he would walk from town to town and he would go to temples and beautiful places and he would meditate and pray where he was, and then he would write a poem about that place and he would leave it at the local temple.
Right.
And
Every day, right?
Every single day. So it was like this, and you can go on his journey. And he wrote this book called, sometimes it's called Narrow Path to the Interior, Narrow Path to the North. It has different kind of translations and meanings. And I thought about how special that was, that here's this person combining art, right? Haiku, prayer and meditation, a spiritual path, and kind of a cultural travelogue at the same time, visiting historical places and highlighting the sacredness of this path and the way that he walked this path. So I just kind of issued a challenge to the reader and to myself, really, like, how do we find what's sacred in our lives? Does it need to be some special place where someone's buried? Can we find, I reference, Lambeau Stadium and
Sure.
to the people of Green Bay, how sacred that stadium is because of the mighty Green Bay Packers, and that's such a legendary history. So yeah, I'm just wondering if that resonated for you or how you find the sacred in your life.
Y'all, it's officially hot outside. It's 74 degrees. Let me show y'all. Y'all think I'm 4 degrees. 74. Hold on. I gotta check my battery. I'm thinking small top, big bottom. Don't know what bottoms. Don't know what top. Don't know. But y'all can get ready with me. And all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the idea of what is and what is not sacred is really about our relationship to things, right? The idea that this Japanese poet could write beautiful haiku as he's traversing the landscape. He is, creating art out of mundanity, right? And in that, there is something sacred. So you can create a relationship of sacredness with whatever is providing you with meaning, or just the effort of trying to be present with something, I think, creates a sacred relationship.
That's
right?
a really good point.
It's not like you go to these faraway places, and you also talk about, going to Israel and these the Wailing Wall and all this sort of stuff, like these artifices that are just, loaded with historic meaning that are, obviously agreed upon sacred sites. But I think that there's a broader conversation to be had about finding the sacred in our everyday lives. Like, how can we mine meaning and be elevated by our own environments, right? And that's just a decision that you make, and a decision to kind of invest whatever experience you're having with a more kind of elevated conscious awareness of how it could be awe-inspiring or wonder-inducing, rather than just mundane or normal. Or, I mean, can it be? Can you drive down the 101 freeway in Los Angeles and figure out a way to find something sacred about that? I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I was just thinking as you were saying that, what would it be like if we wrote a haiku about every place that we visited every single day? even in the
right?
mundanity of our life, even just going to Trader Joe's and picking up some navel oranges. When you read the work of Eckhart Tolle, when you read the work of Thich Nhat Hanh, who talks about being present while you're washing the dishes, how that's the hardest task. Like part of it is presence, like to really be where you
Most
are.
of it is it not?
It's such a
If you can be, Eckhart Tolle would say, if you're completely present with what you're doing, there is nothing that isn't sacred, right? Like that, that capacity to be 100% in the moment that you're in is there, it speaks to this idea of oneness and unity, right? Like human beings are organisms that are always trying to identify patterns. And in that pattern making kind of proclivity, we tend to other, right? Like we're this, they're that. This makes sense. This doesn't. I fit over here. Those people are over there. And it belies the truth, the greater truth, which is the oneness of everything, which you speak so eloquently about in the book. And presence is a way of transcending or overriding that default to kind of identify patterns that are mechanisms of separation.
Hand in hand with that, very well said, is what we can learn from indigenous peoples and looking back into our history. Because if you look back far enough, all of us were.
This outfit, I'm gonna throw on these grandma shoes with them. So we're gonna go get my brows done. I'm gonna go get my brows airbrushed for the first time.
Not like this place that they're talking about in religions is existing after you die. The idea is like you're there right now.
You just can't feel it.
You're wearing a blindfold that looks like your body. And in your life, you're wearing a blindfold that looks like your existence. You're blind. And that's why there's always these stories of like Jesus healing a blind man, or like Paul on the road to Damascus being like blinded. There's all these stories of being like already existing in what Buddhism, some forms of Buddhism call fundamental goodness. That's already where we're at. That's the main channel, but we've sort of grown like little bits of grass into the time-space continuum, and right now we're like waving in the wind of our karma and not realizing there's a beneath us or through us or moving through us is a much grander, more beautiful, incredible thing. So like I think when people say, yeah, they invented it so people would be afraid, it sort of imagines that these people are having one-way conversations with it. That when they pick up the phone, it's just themselves they're talking to. It's not imagining that when people connect to this divine source, it immediately says, oh, hi, yeah, this is the part of your program where you were supposed to start remembering what's really going on here and reconnecting with me. Don't worry. Don't feel bad. It's okay. Everyone goes through that. In fact, you requested a disconnect for the last 15 years when you were getting hammered and imagining you were Charles Bukowski or whatever. Like, if this was all part of the plan, that was actually teaching you what happens when you don't take care of your body. Now, we're like connecting, sending a download to you, letting you know, hi, it's us, we're here. We're not mad at you, how could we be? We're infinite. We've been here since before the stars. You wanted this to happen. My apologies for cutting off your ball, killing your mom and your dad.
Jesus.
You know what I mean? But whatever, this is all part of a bigger thing. And I think that's, to me, what God is. It's this constantly rejuvenating, synchronistic perfection that becomes increasingly perfect, and it exists simultaneous to this seemingly imperfect universe. And it's always there for you to connect to at any moment. And when people smoke DMT, certainly that's one of the avenues. And that's a beautiful thing. So I think the reason for it is not to scare people. It's more so that people become like fountains for that. And in some small way become little droplets or like divine bits of perspiration bubbling up into this place, so that folks who are really freaking out right now or worried or scared or disconnected could have at least the chance to reconnect. Because listen, man, if I was God wanting to get blasted, if I was some divine being wanting to get high, And Alan Watts has a beautiful lecture on this. I really do think at some point I would want to cut off all connection to the realization of my divinity and experience infinite lifetimes on a planet, on a tumultuous planet, and experience every incarnation and all of it to get an understanding of what it is like to be extremely limited. And what would this do? It would just add to my data banks. It would just help me increasingly become more and more beautiful and perfect, which seems to be what we're in right now. It's like we have a limited data set based on our neurology. We can't see certain colors. We can't hear certain sounds. We don't know what happened 20,000 years ago. We don't know what happens 5 seconds from now. And so this is a perfect place to be in becoming, to know what it is to become and to be limited. And this is, who knows, man, it's just something sniffing data. It's something just like, it's like snorting our lives, like the universe is snorting our lives on time. And on the mirror of time.
Well, it's the big thing, right, that keeps us from seeing that. The one thing that all psychedelics have in common is the dissolving of the ego. They all dissolve the ego. What's that word? Dissolution? Yeah.
Dissolution.
Dissolution of the ego. That what's happening with all of them is it removes all this nonsense narrative in your head. Everyone's ego has this nonsense view of the world that's based on them being the most important thing.
Oh, yeah.
And that, all the shit that they're thinking about right now is of the utmost importance, needs to be done right now. That's why people run red lights. Like, you can't even wait. You fuck. It's one thing if it's a medical emergency, kids being born, someone's got a broken leg, and you got to get to the hospital right away. I get it. I 100% get it. But there's some people that just want to make that left turn. They don't give a fuck if the light changed. They want to cut in front of you, make that turn, even block traffic, because they think more about themselves than they do about other people. And that's a side effect of this life that's been set up. But it's almost like maybe that's how it works. Maybe the life creates challenges when there are no challenges. And the challenges it just tries to diminish you, tries to see if you're paying attention, tries to weaken you and make you stupid and turns you into a fucking zombie. Yeah. If you walked into any restaurant during lunchtime and you see people on their phones, it's like, this is bonkers. If this was anything else, that where half the room was using an electronic and staring into it for long moments at a time, not interacting with the person across from them, like that becomes almost the norm. Yeah. That like at least 50% of the people, and everyone's interrupting everybody, like, they're all just barely paying attention to each other.
Yeah. The wing. Well, they haven't developed the muscle. I mean, it's a muscle. It's people just assume that the ability to have a conversation is a natural part of being an adult, but it's like I think that's atrophying in a lot of people to the point now where I just try to be, I just have lowered my expectations to the point of like, I don't know how many people can pay attention that much. And I know I'm certainly distracted, but doesn't it feel fucking weird? Even if you're just watching TV with somebody and they pull their phone out.
It's raining. Huh? It's raining. Why? Rain just hit my finger. Look, it's dead raining right now. And we're almost at the top.
Something great about humans is that we're capable of alchemizing phenomena in a way that it doesn't completely drive us nuts or paralyze us. That's anything that's happening to you can be converted into something either that's going to make you scared, self-destructive, rationalize your anger, rationalize your shitty decisions, or it can be used as a thing that completely, quote, converts you, completely shifts your method or way of living. And that's what's beautiful about a human.
My camera is about to die. Freaking Nikki to your freaking neck. Better, my baby. Oh my life. Y'all know that shit hard. Uh-huh. I've been trying to keep me. No, they've been trying to keep me down. They've
They've been trying to keep me down.
You have any wise words to say for the eclipse today?
Me?
Yeah.
No. But we do
Do you
have
have
the
any
regular
wise
Bacardi.
words to say for the eclipse today?
I think that this is the start of something. I'll tell you all about it later.
For the eclipse today?
I think not really.
Okay.
Boring.
Do you guys have any wise words for the eclipse?
I'm just waiting to see.
I'm gonna say I'm just gonna give a cheers to old endings, new beginnings.
Amen.
Maybe. Okay, let's say like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah,
But
45 minutes to an hour.
I wish.
We're the first thing with ideas. All these other animals, they had instincts.
Right.
They had ideas in terms of like trying to figure out the best patterns to acquire food, how to sneak up on birds.
Yeah.
But if you think cats have ideas, well, guess what? They all have the same fucking idea. Cats aren't inventing shit.
Right.
You know, they're not inventing things. There's a specific kind of idea that's unique to a human being. Regardless of the sentience of other animals, ours is unique in that it allows us to make stuff. Not just little things. We can make gigantic machines that travel into space, and all the wild creations of human beings all came out of ideas. We think it's all humans, but true, we're the ones that put forth. But if you're a thing that wants to get born and you need a host, you get that curious ape that's just been trying to figure out better ways to stab its neighbor with a spear. Get that thing and slowly infect it with ideas.
Right.
Ideas of new stuff to make.
Yeah.
And then it goes out and does the work for you, and then you take over the earth. The ideas have taken over the earth. The people are just the toys of the ideas. Now, if instead of ideas you said demons, I mean, that's literally what people used to think was happening to
Right.
folks when they did terrible things. They had bad ideas, they acted on those bad ideas, and ancient religions thought of those ideas like they were demons, like these people were possessed. That was a common thought, that someone's possessed by a demon.
Still
But
is.
we're all possessed by ideas, and some possessed by them more than others. Like Elon Musk is particularly haunted. He's possessed by ideas.
Swarms of ideas.
And what does he do? Well, look at what he's done. He's one guy that's probably had more of an impact on our perception of what the future holds in terms of technology than any other one individual human being